All right, welcome to tonight's meetings. We actually have a public hearing that we are going to handle first. And this has to do with our annual property tax budget. And so we'll start with that public hearing. So I'll call that meeting to order. In attendance, we have Veliker, Prochatsky, Hagan, Nagel, Peterson, Olson, Mayo, Martin, and Dykstra. And also Mayor Brian Smith is here tonight. So we are at full attendance tonight. So the purpose of the public hearing, and I'm just going to have Aaron just go through why we're having this public hearing tonight. So Aaron, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Council members, this public hearing is for the annual property tax levy and budget for 2024. And I'm just going to read through the significant changes, which we always state on the bottom of this public hearing notice. The 2024 budget imposes an increase of $540,120 in the tax levy when compared to 2023, which is in compliance with state levy limit laws. Of this increase, $496,622 is tied to the debt service levy, which will help pay for recent capital projects and position for the new public works facility that is being built currently. There are minor personnel changes taking effect in 2024, which consists of adjusting our grant writer position from part-time to full-time and reducing our deputy clerk position from full-time to part-time. So from a net standpoint, no new or additional staff members in the 2024 budget. The 2024 budget does maintain services when compared to 2023, apart from a slight increase of a subsidy to the library fund in order to support the operational expenses tied to that fund, which has not been increased from a city standpoint since 2016. An increase in governmental revenues, intergovernmental revenues, or state aids, as we've talked about them, and other revenue sources has allowed for a 4% wage increase for city employees, while other employee benefit costs remain the same or with a slight change, with the exception of the costs associated with our health insurance, which we saw raised substantially this year by 15% when we're speaking premiums. So those are the significant changes for the 2024 budget and things that we've talked about for several months. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Aaron. And this was posted. So I'll start the public hearing by taking testimony in favor of the budget. If you'd like to give testimony in favor of the budget, just step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and limit your time to 3 minutes or less at the podium. Any testimony in favor of the budget? Any testimony in favor? If not, we will take testimony in opposition of the subject. If you'd like to give testimony in opposition, again, step up to the podium and give your name and address for the record. Gentlemen, I had a chance to talk to you ahead of time, and I'm not sure we talked about what your questions were and whether this is the right spot for those, but if you want to, we also have what's public, afterwards we have public comments that can be made too, and maybe that might be more appropriate for you, but I'll give you the opportunity if you guys would like to say something. You're good? Okay. All right. Any testimony in opposition? Any testimony in opposition? If not, I'll declare this public hearing closed at 6:05 p.m. All right, we'll head right into the regular city council meeting. Give me just, Barb and I, just a minute to get ready here. All right, again, welcome everybody to our regular scheduled city council meeting. Today is November 21st, 2023, and it is 6:05 p.m. And as always, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Barb, would you read the clerk's open meeting statement?
This meeting and all meetings of the Common Council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes, so the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting.
And would you also take roll for us?
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Colin Dykstra,
Here.
Paul Hagan,
Here.
Henry Veliker,
Here.
Scott Perchatsky,
Here.
Dave Peterson,
Here.
Paul Mayo,
Here.
Dimitri Martin, Corey Nagel,
Here.
Eric Olson.
Here.
9 ayes, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Barb. And would you start the introductions of the department heads tonight?
Barb Nowak, City Clerk.
Aaron Jensen, City Administrator.
You're up, Matt.
Matt Klatt, Airport Manager.
Eric Bailey, Library Director.
Jared Kivila, Community Economic Development.
Stephanie Wright, Finance Director.
Justin Behrens, Director of Public Works.
Laura Colbert, Parks and Rec Director.
Paul Benjwell, Captain, Police Department.
And also, of course, Josh Werner is our IT person, and he's in the back room. He'll be out in a little bit here. So just getting council members, Aaron told Matt today, since he has a nameplate now, that he has to show up for the meeting, so that's why he's here tonight.
Not sure he likes that.
Yeah. So, all right. Looking at the agenda, we have a consent agenda. Is there any items on there that council would like to see moved from the regular agenda, or from the consent agenda to the regular agenda? And again, of course, if we do move them, that means that we get to discuss those individually and make a motion on them separately. If not, we're looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Martin, second by Olson to approve the consent agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Next up, regular agenda. Barb says what you're seeing on your agenda is what we're going to do tonight, so I just need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Hagan, second by Peterson, that we approve the regular agenda. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Public input. This is under non-agenda items. Public input is for anybody that would like to speak to a non-agenda item, if they would. Please step up to the podium, give your name and address, and limit your time there to 3 minutes or less. Anybody that would like to give public input? Any public input? All right, let's go to Community Development Head Reports, and we have actually Mr. Todd Jones is here tonight, and he's reporting about the Waupaca Yuletide celebration for the Waupaca Area Arts and Cultural Network. Todd, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So, as mentioned, my name is Todd Jones. I am the chairperson of the Waupaca King and In Between Business Development Group. In addition, I'm a member of the WACN Group, the Waupaca Area Arts and Area Culture Network as well. A lot of acronyms in there. It's great to see you all again, especially after such a wonderful agenda, to bring you a little festive holiday cheer. So a quick update on this year's Yuletide celebration that's happening in Waupaca, November 30th through the 4th of December, so 4 days this year. The Yuletide event, as many of you know, has been a collaboration with the city and several local organizations, in addition to our local businesses across the community, bringing in visitors from not only the local community here, but from adjacent communities as well throughout the area. Exposes them to our wonderful community and town of Waupaca. And thanks to the partnership of certainly the city, the administration, and the council, this year's event is planned to be even bigger and better than ever before. As I mentioned, the event's taking place across 4 days, so mark your calendars. If it's not on your calendar, make sure it is after this evening's update. Of course, we will kick off the weekend with our annual cookie walk as planned, but we're also throwing in a wonderful surprise, a little bit of back to the future with the reintroduction of our holiday parade, our Christmas parade, and annual tree lighting. Many of you may have seen the tree that has been installed at Danes Hall in the newly constructed area. So very excited to have that back in place. Thanks again to the administration and the council for making that a reality. We'll have a full weekend of events happening this year as well. I'm going to go through my notes so I don't miss any salient points. But after the parade kicks off and the mayor will light up the tree for the community, we'll have downtown caroling throughout the weekend, movie night, a holiday movie night at the library, a festive tree decorating event that's taking place actually on the grounds of City Hall this year. That's hosted by Waupaca directly and sponsored by several local businesses and local organizations as well. We have an indoor farmers market, a winter's farmers market happening at the Holly Center, a children's parade at the Danes Hall, and a free trolley as a form of transportation between Waupaca and King so that visitors and locals can easily experience both parts of our community, shopping local businesses and participating in a tremendous number of free holiday activities throughout the weekend. More than that exists. Check Facebook for all of the details. It's been posted to our events page. All of the work's been completed. A few final details remaining that we'll be addressing early next week with the planning committee. All is well. Everything's in good order. I'm pleased to report, but just a few final details to handle as we go into the weekend of activities. This event will certainly benefit all of the participants, really giving them a kickoff to the holiday season, but most importantly, it will benefit the community, benefit the local businesses, bringing in visitors from outside the area and exposing those visitors as well as our local residents to all of the businesses and the benefits that we offer to the community, all while doing it in a festive atmosphere, of course. I'd like to close with saying thank you. Thank you to the council. Thank you for the city administration's support of this event and all of the events that we put forward in our community of Waupaca. These events could not happen without that support, so it goes a long way to supporting not only the events for those participants, but also to the folks that enjoy and benefit from such events. So thank you, and have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Todd. Thank you for coming. Anybody have any comments or questions for Todd? Go ahead, Colin.
The Facebook page that you have set up for this, is this specific to Yuletide celebration, or is it under Wacken?
Yeah, it's under Wacken and Wiki, both.
Okay.
Check the events page, and all of the details are there.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
All right. Go ahead, Henry.
I don't know if it's appropriate to say this now, but I guess it came to my brain. Todd is a fairly new entrant into our community the past couple years, but the Wacken group, this was a one-day event the last 2 or 3 years, and it was well run and nicely attended, and the city supported it. But the Wacken group basically coming together expanded it. So I think 5-6 years ago was sort of the idea of the council that they wanted to see the arts groups working more closely together, and that Wacken is the vehicle. And Wiki, do I have that right?
You got it right.
Wiki, and that's formed a better and more productive alliance, I think, than where we were 5 years ago too. So everybody, it's really a very collaborative environment, and the council's allowed me to sit with that group, and I've got to see them in operation, and it's been really good and gratifying to see you guys working so well together.
Thank you. We appreciate the support.
Thanks, Henry. Anybody else? Any other comments? All right. Well, thanks a lot, Todd.
Thank you all.
For coming tonight. Appreciate it. Let's go to department head reports, and Matt, you end up to be the beginning person, so we'll let you go first.
Thanks, Mayor. November's looking really good for us. Flight activity is up 300% for the month compared to last year. Fuel sales for 100 low lead are up 69% over last year. Jet A is up 34%. Both flight schools are remaining really active. Our fuel farm is getting the repairs and upgrades finished up hopefully in the next couple weeks. And work continues on both the T-Hangar project and the master plan.
Thanks, Matt. Anybody have any questions, comments for Matt? All right, let's go to the library. Eric?
All right. A couple quick items to highlight. Passport services are now up and running. So that's both a new service and a new revenue source for the library. The low bar that we're looking to clear for 2024 is to average at least 3 applications each week. Doing that would result in $5,000 of additional revenue. So that should be pretty easy for us to clear based off of current interest. So we are working to get ready for our upcoming interim period where we'll be having the departure of Sue Abramson and Patsy Servey from the library staff on January 2nd of 2024. Patsy and Sue are working hard to document as much of their workflows as possible and to leave as few loose ends as they can before they depart, which really is to say that they are ending their time with us with the same amount of professionalism and commitment to the colleagues and community as has been their hallmark throughout their time with library staff. So they have done a lot during their time with the library, and they're finishing on a good note. So, very quickly, exhibit room. We currently have our Waupaca History 101 exhibit in place. Liz Kinnear has done her usual incredible job with that. If you've not checked it out, I encourage you to do so. We have panels on Ho-Chunk on loan from UWSP. We have informational panels on loan from the UW-Madison Max Cade Institute on Wisconsin's European immigrant history. In partnership with Tracy Barron to the Waupaca Historical Society, we have some excellent information on display about the history of Waupaca itself. Liz also took time to gather immigrant stories from arrivals from different times in Waupaca's history, including some stories from some of our most recent arrivals. And on November 16th, we hosted 6 fourth-grade classrooms from WLC who visited as part of the History of Wisconsin curriculum. And the exhibit includes the first 50 of our 187 rolls of microfilm newspapers that have been digitized and are now searchable PDFs. So that's very exciting to have those up and available. And the initial batch of converted documents dates from 1853 to 1917. So we started with the oldest that we had on file. Last couple points. As I have previously reported, the library has been working to consolidate positions and workflows over the past 5 to 6 years. And over the past year, we've mostly completed that shift to a single desk model with a couple task-specific workstations that everyone is trained to work at. Our salary scale and job descriptions have lagged a bit behind on that and still reflected a much more chopped up set of responsibilities and divided sets of responsibilities as a result. So to close that gap between what people were actually doing and the job descriptions that we had on file, at the November 15th meeting of the library board, we approved a new set of 3 job descriptions versus the 8 part-time job descriptions that had previously been on file, and a new salary schedule to go with that. So that's a very welcome update of both of those things, and I could not fail to mention that on December 5th we will have Angeline Bully, a award-winning author and New York Times bestseller, will be visiting the community. She will be doing a presentation and author talk and book signing at Waupaca High School on December 5th at 6:30 p.m. So if you're interested, I encourage you to attend, and we still have some free books to hand out if you have not yet gotten one. I think I caught most of you. All right, that's everything I've got.
All right, thanks, Eric. Anybody have any questions? Eric, comments? All right. Next up, Jarrett.
Thank you, Mayor. My report can be found on page 19 of your packets. Permits continue to still come in. They are starting to slow down just for the winter season, although we do expect people to still be submitting permits just in preparation for the next building season, since the permits are good for 6 months to a year after they're issued. Downtown Partnership, our next meeting is in December. Hope to continue some great discussions that we have been having. As Todd had mentioned, the Danes Hall Plaza has now been completed. Some final touches still need to be added, but there is a nice large tree there for the Yuletide celebration. Division Street, the old St. Mary's property that is to be redeveloped. With winter upon us, it does not appear that they are going to be starting this year yet, and it looks like they'll be starting once the snow clears next spring. Continuing on relogoing vehicles, city vehicles, as well as completing new wayfinding signage for the community that better fits our branding. Working with Justin, the DPW crew, Laura, and sign vendors for the logoing, and then wayfinding signage. Working through the chamber, currently trying to get some townships more included in the discussion. So that continues. And yeah, just business as normal after that.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Questions, comments for Jared? All right, let's go to finance. Steph?
Thank you. As I've stated in the last 4 presentations, the budget has been huge with my department, obviously. Also, we've been working on the tax roll, and once the budget is completed, we will move forward with getting the county their packet ready. DOR quarterly reports are all up to date. All other quarter reports are up to date. Bank reconciliation, so on and so forth. Everything has been moving as smoothly as we can do. We did complete the shared ride taxi bidding process with the help of the evaluation committee, and we will go into further detail about this at our next council meeting on December 5th. We did hold our open enrollment for our benefits last week, Tuesday. It went really well. And we have some training coming up at the end of the month. So nothing else besides that.
All right. Thanks, Steph. Questions, comments? All right, I didn't get to hear yours this morning, Justin. Nice that you came in on your vacation day for our meeting tonight. So, thanks.
You're welcome, Mayor. My updates on page 23 of the packet through 27. Starting as usual in wastewater, we've had a couple needing repairs for our backup generators, both our mobile one and one a fixed one. We don't like to let those sit out there, so we got them fixed and up and running in short order. At our plant, at our aeration tanks, we have a basically what are called slide gates. They're original to the plant expansion in '97. They don't work very well anymore, so we're looking at options to replace. We're expecting to be pretty pricey, but we're looking into it, and we need to get this fixed in a fairly short order. We did get some praise over this last week. Sewer guys, with the help of street guys, diagnosed a sewer lateral issue, helped a resident out, and I guess we like to see the crews working together well, and then also getting the praise from the residents. Our building heat boiler was offline for some time, and again, that's something we don't like to let sit, especially with the weather expecting to kind of turn cold. Guys have parts coming, and we'll fix that as soon as it arrives. Street department leaf pickup is still in full swing. We'll be picking up leaves through the end of the month, so you have one more weekend to get them out there. And then after that, all bets are off. So just kidding. I mean, you do have the option to bring them to the recycling center or find a place in your own backyard. We did hang all the downtown lights on the trees and hung a new tree at the Danes Hall, which I think was already mentioned. The tree looks fantastic. The guys did get posted on Facebook, I believe, smiling, and I would not believe they did it unless I saw it. So they did a fantastic job. Water department, we are going a little longer into the season with our leak detection. We've had some good weather. When we find leaks, we have to fix them. We usually don't do this in the winter because it's difficult to dig when the ground's frozen. Our leak detection is something we do every year. In the past, it was an every other year thing, but with our monitoring and our reporting, our unaccounted for loss has been fairly high the last handful of years, close to 20% or more. And what that means is it's water that we pumped that we could not account for, whether it was sold or given away, which in some rare cases we do. So we have been doing that every single year to try and get that number down. We installed 2 brand new meters at Hart Court. There's a number of condos going up there, and we're expecting to do a few more, so it's always good to see new customers, especially for a great development as such as it is. We moved a hydrant at Badger and State. I think most of you probably noticed that was closed down for a number of days. Excuse us for the mess. We had to move our hydrant so that WPS could move their pole, which could then accommodate some electrical improvements for that new development that's going to be occurring on Division Street. Facility side, well, Jake is ready for the sidewalk. He's got the salt ready and all of his equipment. And I should have said for the street department, they did the same, which is a bigger task. But we're ready for the weather, even though it doesn't seem like it's coming. It will be here soon. He is working through the dead tree removal program, which is his first year in it. It's going very well. We've had very good compliance this year. Removed a part of the fence here at City Hall to accommodate the future IT tower. So you'll see part of that fence being gone until that tower is completed. Then we'll put the fence back up and screen it back up like it was. I believe you report on Highway Main a couple times, but I would just like to mention that Street Guys and Jake, the facility guy, has helped with setup and cleanup, and just an amazing event. I think it's fair to say it again. Finally, our facility. We scheduled a tour for all other persons and department heads, December 5th at 5:15. So we have a council meeting that night at 6. So everyone's invited to come see the new facility starting at 5:15. It's a work in progress. It will be heated on the inside, so you don't have to worry too much about being cold. Just wear your jacket like you normally would. We try to get this scheduled a little sooner. We pushed it back a little bit because we are pouring the main garage slab shortly after Thanksgiving here, and wanted that to be complete so it would be a little easier to walk through the entire place. But so anyways, I hope to see all of you there, and I'll send out an email reminder with that information as well.
Thank you, Justin. Any comments or questions? Go ahead, Colin.
Oh, I wanted to speak a little bit more about, Justin was talking about leaf pickup. He has in the notes here how his crew is being flexed from their typical 4, as I understand it, 410s to 510s. People are moving around. And I'd like to say that's a great way for us to provide more service in a timely manner for our citizens and without raising the cost of the labor involved. So thanks to the employees, thanks for you for managing it, and keep it up.
Thank you, Colin. May I just clarify?
Yeah.
So we have 2 guys that will come in from Tuesday to Friday on 410s, and then the rest of the crew is Monday through Thursday, so that the leaf truck is running 50 hours a week while everybody's staying at their 40.
Yeah, I think it's a really great thing.
All right, thanks, Colin. Justin, thanks. Let's go to Parks and Rec. Laura?
Well, we certainly have a lot to be grateful for in the Parks Department and the Parks and Rec Department. We are up to $157,000 for donations and grants. We received 3 large grants at the beginning of this month, actually the 31st and 1st. We have a $10,000 grant from an anonymous fund through the Community Foundation. We have a $10,000 grant from the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Waupaca, and the Tim Rattlers Foundation granted us $5,000. So that was just incredible to receive those 3 grants, and we still have 2 more out there that could total up to $25,000. In your packet, you will see a spring and summer survey. We received a lot of positive feedback and some good constructive feedback as well. So, you know, if you're out hunting or want to get away from the family over Thanksgiving, it's some good reading material for you. And we had a very successful friends dinner for Pack Area All-Stars. We had about 30 attendees, which was just wonderful to bring everybody together. And one of the things I'm really excited to talk about is, thanks to Dimitri's help, we have hired a part-time person to help run some exercise classes. So we're really trying to figure out a way to target the 18 to 50-year-olds. Anybody's welcome, but we don't really currently offer classes that are non-sports related for those ages. We've got a lot of youth programs, we've got a lot of senior center programs, and Jerry Abrahamson is going to come in and she's going to start this December already teaching a class called Butts and Guts, so working those body parts, and then another one called Body Rocks, which is how you can work out by just using your own body weight. So really, really cool classes that anybody of all ages can go to. We don't want kids that are, unattended that may not be able to participate. But certainly, if I was thinking if I could bring my 10-year-old daughter, that would be a great fit, because she could maybe join us. So watch out for those. We've got flyers up everywhere. They're on ActiveNet. You can register. So when you put the Yuletide celebration in your calendar, you can put these classes in your calendar too. All right, and that's all I have for now.
All right. Well, thanks, Laura. Anybody have any questions or comments for Laura? All right, Paul, you're next up.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Chief's report is on page 40, and I'll just highlight a couple items on there. On October 28th, we held our drug take-back, where we collected 28 pounds of unused medications. Those will be safely disposed of. Officer Hahn and Officer Holden were issued a positive performance report for an incident that they handled in October. We had a suicidal subject that was holding his knife to his throat, and through the excellent use of communication by both those officers, they were able to get the subject to safely surrender the knife and take him into custody to get him the help that he needed. So great incident where nobody was hurt on either side, and we just wanted to commend them for that. Excuse me. So the police department is going to be having 7 officers participate in some online training to learn Spanish. That's going to be beginning in 2024, and the city is also looking for other employees to do that. And then the officers that are participating in that will be able to utilize that training as a SMART goal for 2024 as well. During the month of October, we handled 691 calls for service. There were 21 criminal cases referred to the district attorney's office, 109 traffic stops, and 82 resulting in 82 citations and 86 warnings. Again, that was for the entire month of October. Last but not least, we are going to be teaming up with the Waupaca Fire Department for what we're going to call Holidays with Heroes. That's going to be on December 7th. And what that is similar to Shop with a Cop, where we'll be taking children to Fleet Farm to purchase items through donations for their family members, and then coming back to the police department for food and drinks and to wrap presents. Then we'll also be giving each family a gift box of food that they can have for the holiday season. So previously, we used to adopt one family for the police department. Due to pairing up with the fire department and donations we received, we should be able to help out about 17 different families this year. So really increased the participation in that. So I don't believe I have anything else.
Thanks, Paul. That's really cool. Thanks for your report. Anybody have any questions or comments? Henry, go ahead.
Lieutenant, I just want to say I think it's great that your officers are stepping up to learn the second language.
Yeah.
I know it's probably pretty intimidating, and I hope you get some interest from other employees. I'll bet you a donut that one or two of your officers, it took you guys a while to get that one or two of you guys are going to, and officers are going to have some proclivity to this and really pick it up. And I think it's very proactive. Thank you for, coming up with that. That's a good, I think, a really good thing. Thank you.
Henry, thanks. Anybody else? All right, let's go to IT. Josh?
In October, Waupaca Online finished our broadband expansion grant, which was upgrading some backhauls. All the paperwork's been submitted to the state, and now we're just waiting for a check for that. Put in some new computers at the airport. They were part of this year's computer replacement process. The city is now on Instagram. I think we're somewhere around 150 followers. We've been on there for a couple weeks now. I've been hearing that over and over, that's how we need to reach the younger people, so we're there and giving that a go. Justin kind of talked about the tower project earlier. I guess the date I was given, a tentative start date of December 4th, working on the base, and kind of what we were told is they think they will have both bases done by Christmas, so we'll see if that works out. Myself, Durant, and Jordan have been, today was day 2 over at the new Public Works building prepping to start pulling cable, all the data cabling, and we're going to hopefully start pulling tomorrow. And we got to thank Nate and Mike from Public Works for coming over and getting some holes through some brick walls for us as well to be able to start that process. And that's all I've got.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Any comments, questions? All right. Thank you. Up front, Barb.
Thank you, Mayor. My report is on page 49. Last week, I attended the 2023 Presidential Election Academy for 2.5 days. Learned a lot about elections and some updates and different things. There was a lot of great speakers. I did put some declaration of candidacy papers on the desks of the mayor and the 4 alderpersons that are up for election. In 2024, first day to circulate papers is December 1st, and the last day is January 25th, or January 2nd of 2024. And just some licensing things for the new year. We just sent those out, and that's about it.
Thank you, Barb. Any questions or comments for Barb? Thank you. Aaron, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor Smith, and good evening, council members. So a couple things I want to just highlight. We've been continuing to collect some information on compensation studies, what it means, different routes we could possibly go. As we have that as a major focus in 2024, the mayor and I continue to talk, and council will see something in the future on that when we feel like we have all questions answered. Housing meetings and River North and Housing Elsewhere, continue to have those, meeting with local potential collaborators and local banks and trying to see what kind of resources they have. They put us in touch, or they're going to put us in touch with the Home Loan Bank of Chicago for some programs and grant opportunities that they may have available. And we'll look, myself and our grant writer, Greg, will attend that meeting with some local bank reps and see what we can open up for opportunities for housing here in Waupaca. Got a chance to do something that doesn't happen all that often, but it was a ton of fun, so I'll mention it. Got to kind of walk the streets of downtown and work with some of our downtown retailers and Terry at the Chamber to help decorate some of the planters that are out there. So that was done, and the pine bows and decorations and all that are paid for. It's done very, very cheaply, and it looks nice. And in conjunction with all the work from Justin's crews and putting the lights up, I think the downtown already looks amazing, and I know there's more. There was more added today, and there will be additional. So thank you, Justin, and thank you to your crews. We had the Board of Review meeting. For those, we have some people on this council that were at the Board of Review meeting, but for those who were not, we had one person come and contest. After we kind of worked through the process, that individual, I think, really found it probably as an educational process more than anything, and the assessment didn't end up being changed on that residential property, and that was the only one we had. Dimitri asked a couple good questions to the assessors that might be of interest, and I apologize if this was repeated to council before. I don't think so, though. Of about 90 that came to open book, 30 of those properties were adjusted, just for an idea of kind of what that looked like for people that were interested. And all of the final numbers in the budget reflect the final assessments. And then last, I know Barb does not do it, and the people at City Hall do not do it for this reason, and I know neither do the police department. I think that's awesome, Paul, that you guys are doing that. I know you saw a local need in the city specifically, and creating your own event for that Adopt a Family is awesome. But I also want to mention that Barb also coordinates a little City Hall Adopt a Family, and a lot of City Hall staff contribute to that, and I believe that family's been selected. So just a show of character of Barb and staff. So I think that's all. Otherwise, any questions?
All right. Thanks, Aaron. Any questions, comments? All right, let's move on to unfinished business. We have ordinance number 12-2023. This is an ordinance amending chapter 17.104, parent 3, permitted uses and conditional uses pertaining to solar array. This is the second reading of this. So, Jarrett, you want to just explain what's going on?
Of course. This one can be found on page 79 of your packets. There's a red line on page 80. Essentially, this would be adding the solar array as a primary land use option within the agricultural and I-2 heavy industrial districts. So solar array was not included in our zoning code before, so this would be adding it, and it would be a conditional use, so it would come forward for conditional use approval through the Plan Commission and the council before any site plans or anything like that would be approved. So happy to take any questions.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for doing the red line, too. That really helps, to see what the changes are there. All right, this is the second reading of this, so if you feel comfortable with it, we would like to get a motion to approve this.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Martin, second by Olson, that we approve the ordinance number 12-2023. Any discussion? Barbara, call the roll.
Dimitri Martin,
Aye.
Henry Veliker,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Colin Dykstra,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Corey Nagel.
Aye.
9 ayes, motion carried.
All right, then next up, we have ordinance number 13-2023. This is an ordinance amending chapter 17.603, parking requirements, and chapter 17.606, driveways. It's under the zoning code. And this is also the second reading, so Jared, again, you want to just tell us what this one's about?
Of course. So this is relating to driveway width at the curb line as well as at the property line, so within the right-of-way still. So staff was doing a review, noticed that the zoning code said one thing and the public works code said another. Through talking with Justin, since this is still in the right-of-way, we felt as though keeping the code within the public works code, our section, would be the most beneficial. We checked it over for what the requirements were, felt that those were appropriate. So the only changes are just, we are changing it so the zoning code references the public works code, just to keep it consistent, so.
Good catch. Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is second reading, so if we don't have any comments or questions, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Olson, second by Nagel, that we approve ordinance number 13-2023. Any discussion? Barbara, call the roll.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Corey Nagel,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Colin Dykstra,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Henry Veliker,
Aye.
Dimitri Martin. 9 ayes, motion carried.
Garrett, thank you. for both
Thank
of
you.
those. Next up, this has to do with the budget, of course. Resolution number 1553, it's a resolution designating appropriations and levying a tax for the 2024 budget for the city of Waupaca. And Aaron is going to just give us a good overview of things.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. City Council members, on page 85, you'll find the resolution for appropriations of levying a tax for the 2024 budget for the city of Waupaca. You'll see that total tax levy amount at $4,179,338. That is the general fund and the debt service levy. Some of those other items you see in there, library, transit, airport, youth program fund, are just simply transferred out of the general fund to those funds within the budget, the general fund budget. I have a cover memo that covers my cover memo from the October 17th Committee of the Whole meeting when we talked about this, and it just updates that a little bit. We went through the first draft of the budget on October 17th. Since that time, we've had a couple of discussions, compensation for elected officials, and then also the debt service levy options for 2024. So after we had those actions, the budget has been updated to reflect those, and actually the debt service levy option did end up remaining the same. The budget is based off a total tax levy of $4,737,000, and the reason that's different than the other is because that's TID in. When we talk about resolution to levy a tax for any given year, we talk about the things that are in our control, and then there's also a state equation and a formula, a tax increment worksheet that ends up being that 4737. That ended up decreasing our rate by $2.11. But as we've talked about throughout the fall, that doesn't necessarily mean a tax decrease. In fact, a $250,000 home will be about $202 more expensive from a city standpoint in 2024. One other big thing, so this also includes, when we're approving this tonight, we're also talking about approving the water and sewer utility budgets. We have talked about those budgets at the Water and Sewer Utility Board. Justin has brought those forward. There was one conversation that had happened since the October 17th meeting, and some things that were brought to light. And initially and throughout this process, we've been talking about doing a simplified rate case, which would have meant an 8% increase to the rates across all rates for the water utility for 2024. We have since found that we've talked a lot about the impacts of the revaluation and how a revaluation does not necessarily mean a tax raise, right? Because the rate goes down and it's all about the levy. That is not necessarily the case when it comes to fire protection fees. It does go, that revenue line just goes up. So fire protection fees within the water utility will go up based on a per $1,000 of value. So we brought that to the Water and Sewer Utility Board, explained that extra revenue that we'll be getting will offset the revenues that we would have been getting through the 8% simplified rate case. So because the fire protection is governed by the PSC, we have no choice in that. We've looked into it. We're like, is there anything we could do to have that be different? And the answer is no. However, we can choose not to do the 8% rate increase, simplified rate increase for 2024. So that was what was voted on in the utility board. And we will have revenues that will cover what that would have been. So those are the changes since we've talked on October 17th. Again, this resolution doesn't necessarily impact the water and sewer utility rates, but I wanted to bring that up as that was a change. Attached to this, you'll see an updated version of the 2024 budget memo. So I did go in and change some things based on values and things that changed through the assessment, open book, and board of review process. Mill rates changed just slightly, but we're pretty close to our projections. And you'll see, and then another thing that was added that kind of shows all of those, the tax rate and apportioned levy calculations, which we just finalized yesterday because the school levy credit is always released on November 20th. So that got released yesterday and was added to this, and that's why you saw an uploaded packet yesterday. So you can see that, and I'm on the wrong one because I'm not on the updated one. Let me get to the updated one. With that school levy credit that was applied, the total mill rate ends up landing at $16.86. City of Waupaca's is at $7.56. And you can see the breakdown there on page 11 of that uploaded packet. So with that, I think that explains anything that has changed in the last couple weeks, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, everything else is what we have discussed throughout the fall.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Again, this is just a review of, and some changes from our October 17th meeting where the total budget presentation was made at that time. Of course, we did take into consideration the discussion we had at our last meeting too, on debt service fund. So, anybody have any questions or comments? So, are we ready to make a motion and vote on budget 2024?
A motion will adopt Resolution 1553.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion by Dykstra. Who is this? I'm sorry, who said second?
Mr. Mayo did that.
Oh, second? I'm sorry. All right. And second by
And a
Mayo.
second ahead of you.
All right. So, motion by Dykstra, second by Mayo, that we approve the resolution number 1553, which is our 2024 budget. Any discussion? Henry, go ahead.
I just want to thank you, Mayor, and the staff and the department heads for the process. It's very orderly, and you brought forward some very good recommendations. So you really make council's life very easy. So thank you for that. And I know staff, it's a long season, budget season. Thank you for that.
It is. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate the comments. I'm sure staff does too. Any other? If not, Barb will take roll.
Paul Hagan,
Aye.
Henry Veliker,
Aye.
Scott Perchatsky,
Aye.
Dave Peterson,
Aye.
Paul Mayo,
Aye.
Dimitri Martin,
No.
Corey Nagel,
Aye.
Eric Olson,
Aye.
Colin Dykstra.
Aye.
8 ayes, 1 no, motion carried.
All right. Thanks, Barb. Aaron, thank you for that.
Thank you, council and mayor and staff.
All right, let's move on to new business. We have a little discussion about our Lakeman Field project. Laura?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So a little background. You did just hear that we have about $157,000 in our donations and grants so far, with $25,000 grants that we're still waiting to hear from, and at least $11,000 promised to us from other private donors. Throughout the process, our flyers always mentioned that donor signage and naming rights are an opportunity to visibly demonstrate the commitment to the community. The fundraising committee for Lakeman Field has been in favor of no less than $200,000 in naming rights for the field. Well, Community First came forward and said that they would like naming rights of the field. And our stipulation is that we want to keep Lakeman in the field. So we recommended the name of Community First Lakeman Field. And they've not veered from that at all. I've asked multiple times, you sure that's okay? It's the direction we want to go. They had a board meeting last night, and not only did they decide to go for the $200,000, they are going to give us $250,000 for naming rights for Lakeman Field. So with the CIP, with the donations, and with the naming rights, we are now at $482,000, and our goal was $475,000. And this does not include in kind. This does not include the potential future grants and donations. So our fundraising committee is going to meet, and we are going to start exploring the option of upgrading the concession stand, potentially moving the right field fence line, and parking for the field. So this is really exciting that we can branch out from our original phase 1. Thanks to this. So what I'm asking, though, because this is a city property, is for city council approval to approve the Community First naming rights of Lakeman Field while still including Lakeman in the name.
All right, thank you. Laura, what great news. Great to hear. Anybody have any questions or discussion? Go ahead.
Is it perpetual?
Can you describe what that means?
With the name? be Community First
we have
forever?
told them that it would be a minimum of 25 years as long as Community First stays in good standing. And I asked her, like, do you have any idea if Community First were to leave Waupaca, like what that would look like? And she said this is one of their strongest branches, and they don't foresee that happening.
Thank you.
Other comments? Go ahead, Dave.
I really appreciate the board keeping the name Lakeman in the title, and I appreciate Community First for accepting that. I think that's important for anybody that's been there and played as a Lakeman and spent a lot of time with it. I know I'm very appreciative of it, and I want to thank Community First and 250,000 reasons to let them have their name on it. I do also hope that, I think it is in the plans, similar to Swan Park where they have community, but you also have another board that recognizes some of the other givers, because, I mean, nobody's going to match that 250,000, but a lot gave a lot just to contribute,
Absolutely.
whatever they could.
We will
I think it's
yes.
important to do that too.
Yes, we will definitely have a recognition board of many, like almost all of the donors for sure.
Perfect. I'll move that we accept the name and the contribution from Community First.
Second. Motion by Peterson, second by Olson, that we approve Community First naming rights, making sure that Lakeman Field is part of that name. Henry, discussion.
I'm just curious if our other financial institutions express interest in this process.
None came forward for that price point.
Right, and this was sort of an open process. There wasn't any effort to solicit proposals for the major naming rights?
No.
Okay, so we just took it as, again, don't get me wrong, I mean, $250,000 is significant on a facility, so please don't take my questions wrong, council, staff, or anyone. Just, I heard a comment about our last naming rights, and I'm just kind of expressing, did we forget to ask our other banks that have been here probably longer, a couple of them anyway.
Right.
So that's all. I'm just trying to keep peace in the family here locally.
Yep.
With that question, but nobody came up. Everybody was well aware of the opportunity.
Yes. Yep.
And my guess is those institutions will probably come in at another level, maybe.
We have had one come in at a very substantial level, yeah, but not.
Okay.
And they knew from the get-go that this was
Good.
on the table.
Great. Good work.
All right, Dave, you had something
Well, that
else?
was my comment. I know one of the other banks threw out the first pitch at Lakeman Old Timers because they had already made a donation of X $1,000, whatever it is. So,
It's really great to see because that facility needs some attention, so it's good.
All right, yeah, awesome. This is great news. It really is, and looking forward to seeing what this is really going to look like. So, yeah, I mean, put smiles on our faces. That's what we should be doing. Anybody else have any other comments? All right, we're going to just do a voice vote on this. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Laura, thanks. Keep on working. Next up, we have license report number 1650. This is for operator's license. You can see that on page 122. There are, looks like 5 names on there. We are just looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Hagan, second by Veliker, that we approve license report 1650. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Communications and recommendations of the mayor. Just a couple of real short things here. One, we try to reduce our December meeting load a little bit, and so the plan is to only have the first meeting in December for the council. We are still leaving that open that we might have to meet the second or the third Tuesday of the month, but we don't think we'll have to. So you can plan that we will not have that meeting. So plan ahead for that. And then I just want to, we're just a couple of days away from Thanksgiving, so I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and hopefully you have an enjoyable time with your families and stuff. So, appreciate all of you. Thank you. And anybody else have any other comments for the good of the meeting? Paul, you're up.
Move to approve.
Move to adjourn by Paul Hagan,
Second.
second by Veliker. Approve adjournment. Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, no discussion there. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Our next meeting is December 5th, 2023, subject to call. We are adjourned at 7:01 PM.